Breaking news, prison story. Now, I'm going to tell a prison story today because I've been doing these celebrity stories and they're kind of sickening me to my stomach, So therefore, we're going to ride and, what we like to do? We like to ride. So I'm going to ride you on a prison story. This one's going to be about my man Bonaparte. So y'all know who Bonaparte is. Let's get this story right. You know what I mean? This Bonaparte right here, right? So that's Bonaparte. Now you see Bonaparte chilling. He got a little baby face, right? But before I even go into it, he get transferred from Colorado to USP Lompoc. And when they get to Lompoc, they see the baby face. They thinking he's soft, so they get ready to make a move on him. So look how this baby face handled this situation, and then you tell me how you would have handled it. All right? You know what it is, Unique Mecca Audio, man. This one's about Bonaparte, right? Like I said, my man Bonaparte, he get transferred from Colorado, USP to Lompoc, California, right? So now when he get there, he runs into Tony Lewis and, I think it was Jason, right? So he walking down the hall, and while he walking down the hall, they on the way to the kitchen. We call it the chow hall, right? So he going to the chow hall, and while he's standing in line, he see a dude, eating, he talking loud, and how dudes talk loud with their hands. And as he's talking, food comes out his mouth, and it goes in another dude's mouth and all on his food. So, Bonaparte started laughing, right? Right now, right before Bonaparte stopped laughing, dude smacks him. Bam! Right? So when Bonaparte see that, he's hysterically laughing. So dude's looking at it like, hold up, who this dude is? He see a little baby face, so he figured he got a free pick. So he said, nah, free pick is when you think that, something's easy. Dudes don't want to fight a big dude. They want to fight a little dude. They call a little dude a free pick. So they see Bonaparte as a little young dude. He from D.C. He chill. Big shout out to D.C. Let's give D.C. a round of applause. I feel like riding with a good prison story today. Relax, y'all. Relax. Right? So Bonaparte laughing and, as they walking down the joint, dude says to his man, he says, man, what are you laughing at, man? I'll smack the crap out of him. You know what I mean? So now, when he says that, they keep going. Bonaparte didn't hear it, but Tony Lewis heard it, and the other homie, Jason, heard it, right? So now, while they walking down the hall, they telling them what was said, so Tony Lewis must have went back and, heard dude saying that he want to see him, and, he ain't appreciate Bonaparte laughing at him like that, all because he smacked him like if it was a joke, because he's saying he'll smack the crap out of Bonaparte. Bonaparte say he ain't trying to hear none of that, right? So, he never even heard it, but now he's pissed off, and he said, what? His homies heard it, though. So being that the homies heard it, that's stamped, right? So they coming back from outside now, and when they coming back from outside, dude runs up on Bonaparte, and he start, what you laughing at? You know what I'll do to you? And and he starts going off, right? So while he going off, Bonaparte looking, so Bonaparte plays it off, and, he diffused the situation. He had the Bethlehem on him. Big shout out to Banky Pound. And I heard Banky Pound been using my drum machine and sound effects and, and riding and all that. And ain't been giving me my credit. Banky, we don't do that, son. But like I said, we talking about the Banky, the Bethlehem that, Banky Pound brought into existence on this YouTube. So we got to give props where it's formed because people are trying to change the narrative. So now, he got the Bethlehem on, and he could have put it in dude, right? But he said, nah, I ain't even going to do that, you know what I mean? So he downplayed it, but he only did that because he knew that the movie theater was going to be open tonight, and it was going to show, I think it was Friday the 13th Jason. And, of course, he got a Jason with him. So they getting ready to play Friday the 13th, so he ain't want to mess up everybody's night. Because you got to think for everybody in the penitentiary. So he said, we're going to at least let him get to the movie theater. And when we get to the movie theater, I'll crush him in the movie theater so I can have fun doing it in the dark. And I can, hit him as many times as I want. And, get the thirst out of me, right? So now, they go on inside. It got diffused, right? So after he diffused it, a dude from Cleveland was working in the movie theater, and it was his job to like clean up and fix the chairs when something happened. So he had access to the tools and things like that, right? So he whispered in Bonaparte ear because he messed with Bonaparte, right? Because men recognize men, whether they're from Cleveland, D.C., New York, Chicago, Miami, California, or wherever, even Idaho. And I'm not talking about potatoes, right? So now he sits there and he tells me he got a hammer, right? So now when they go in the movie theater, dude slides the hammer to Bonaparte. Bonaparte got the hammer, right? So while he got the hammer, he's thinking of the best way to get him. So he sits behind the dude, but he sits more towards the right. So when he's sitting behind, him towards the right, he wants to get him then, but he can't really get him. And just, when the movie ends, dude gets up and he goes to the vending machine, right? Because they have vending machines in there. And y'all been in Lombard. Picture the prison got vending machines where you go buy a soda and zoom zooms and wham whams and Kit Kat and Snickers and Lay's chips while you're in the movie theater from the vending machine. Yeah, this is in prison out in Lombard, right? So that's how it was from back in the, what we riding, right? We riding, right? So now, back in the day, they used to have vending machines, like in Atlanta, USP, Raybrook, FCI. The older prisons had vending machines and used to have quarters, right? And it's crazy because, like, we riding. So I'm going to tell you about over in Atlanta. Atlanta was so sweet. They had the black females that was working in there. They work at the prison, by day. And when they get off, they go get their little nap after they get off at 4 o'clock, and then they in the strip club. You know what I mean? And they back to work by 8. So now they trying to make ends meet, and we sitting here with thousands of dollars in quarters. So we used to give the females, quarters and stuff, right? We give them $500 in quarters, right? And you see them lugging it all out of there, and they wiping their mouth. So you already know what that was about. But, that's how sweet it was back then, right? So we in Lum Park where they also had the vending machines. So when they go up there to the vending machine, Bonaparte stand behind dude. And, before, he gets up out of his seat right before the movie ends, he throws on what they called it like a mask. They got the mask out here now. He took the Long John's leg, cut the leg, put it over his head, and cut the little front out so he could see what he's doing. But he got from his nose covered up. And as soon as the lights is off in the movie theater and they get to the end of the movie and the credits is playing, he throws the mask on and he walks up. And dude didn't see him coming. So after he hits him, boop, 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 busts him up in the hat, right? Oh, I forgot the sound effects. Hit him with the joint, right? So now, after he hit him the first time, dude kind of dizzy, so he busts him in the head again, bow. So then when he hit him in the head, dude dizzy, and you know what I mean? So his man is yelling to Bonaparte now, yo, don't get him no more, he ain't gonna make it, don't hit him no more, don't hit him no more. So Bonaparte said, all right, I'm gonna let him live, right? So now he walks away, and an hour later, dude comes up to Bonaparte, right? And he says to Bonaparte, right? He said, yo, big homie, why did it have to go like that, right? So Bonaparte now I'm big homie, but when you first looked at me, you thought I was a little free pick, you know what I mean? So he said, nah, big homie. So Bonaparte was every big homie in the book at this point after he done got hit in the head, right? So dude kept apologizing, and as he's talking to him, right, blood started coming out his ear, right? And as you're looking at him, you can see his head start to swell, right? You know those cartoons when it goes like whoop, 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 whoop? That's how we looking at his head, right? So we tell him like, yo, dude, you know what I mean? You got blood coming out your ear, your head swelling. You need to get that looked after. And we laughing and cracking up and said, yo, he looked like, this was about that. He said he looked like Martin Lawrence when he was fighting the haggler in the Martin show, and he smacked him so hard he hit the wall and he had the nuggets in his joint, like when you're in the train and you see those knobbies on the poles that hold up the train joint. You know what I mean? That's how it was on dude's head, right? And we watching it grow right in front of our face. Look like it's saying whoop, 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 whoop. We're like, oh man, he done crushed him. So now, after they done hit him, here they come with the airlift, right? So now they had the airlift him out of there, right? Let me ride. Airlifting is when you hurt so bad and it's life-threatening that they rush you on a plane, right? They rush you on a plane, but my bad. They rush you on a helicopter, and it flies you, which is called airlifting you to the nearest hospital that deals with dudes getting smacked in the head with a hammer. I got another story for if you want to hear it. You know, I don't remember if I told this or not when I was in my prison heyday stories on YouTube. Big shout out to my prison stories. Go to Unique Mecca Audio, check them out. Go to Unique Mecca Audio, check out my prison stories, and subscribe to my daughter YouTube channel at Juanita Mecca Audio. Calm down, y'all. And Real Boss TTTV. All right. And this is sponsored by Cashbox, just so that you know. So now they airlifted dude out of there to save his life. So they winds up saving his life, right? So after they airlift him, you know, dude comes back to the compound, you know, and now he wants to go to Bonaparte to apologize, you know. Now, could you imagine somebody beating you down the head with a lock, you getting airlifted, right? And then you coming back on the compound. They had what they called back then a tough man sheet. See, when he was in the hole, they told him straight up, right? Because they didn't have a lot of prisons back then. This before Bill Clinton signed in the crime bill and spent like $20 billion on prisons. So it was only a handful of prisons. So it's not too many places or choices they had to send you to. So dude come back on the compound, sign a tough man sheet. The tough man sheet is when you sign it saying that if you go out on the compound and you get killed, you get hurt, that's on you. That's not on them. That's a tough man sheet. And you know how the police used to do it, right? Because we riding. Hey, yo, you know what y'all got to do? Make sure y'all hit that like button, man, right? Hit that like button. So check it out, right? So now, the police used to come walking down the joint and they knock on the door and, you know, walking on the T and the SHU, right? SHU is the special housing unit. That's why we call it SHU. It's pronounced SHU. All right, so I give you all these jewels over here. So the police kept walking down and it's Thursday. The day is when they release the people back to the compound to get ready for the weekend. And they knock on the door. Hey, y'all, you trying to go back out or you scared to see Bonaparte? You know? Now, he said this loud in front of everybody, right? So, the last thing a dude could do is say, nah, I ain't going back out there, because whatever prison he go to, they're going to send what they call a kite, which is a letter, and it'll get there before he get there. As soon as he get there, it'll be heard that he had a chance to get back on the pound to get his get back from Bonaparte, and he didn't do it. So, therefore, he's not going to be able to stay on that compound that they're trying to send him to, or any compound after that, because if you're not going to fight for yourself, you're not going to fight for no one else, so we don't need you on the compound. That's how real this thing get. So don't say I didn't tell you. So if this is what you want for your life, if this is how you want, I was forced to have to live this for 26 years because I violated the laws of America and I got my just dues, and then I self-rehabilitated myself and I'm back out here. Self-rehabilitation means I became a certified electrician, certified plumber, certified HVAC and refrigeration, certified mechanic, certified culinary arts, and a certified chef. You know what I mean? So I can cook my ass off. You know what I mean? But I learned all that from in the prison. And I'm a but they call it when you sew. Because I normally just say, you know, what I heard of that before I went to prison. I never thought I'd pick up a needle and thread. Must just sit at the machine. I know how to work a juki and all of that. Y'all don't even know what a juki is. Juki is a joint where it got like 9 different threads coming into the machine, going into one needle. And as it's sewing it, all 9 different threads is intertwining. And it's making a strong stitch. So when you look on the inside of something and you see those crazy stitches, that's from a juki, right? See, now how old ex-kingpin from Harlem learned anything about that? Because I became a seamster. You know what I mean? And female is called seamstress. So y'all put in the comments if it's seamster, seamstress, or what it is. You know, I know seamstress for the females. So I'm going to say seamster, right? So now, we sitting there and, oh, man. All right, we ain't going to worry about that right now. All right. So check it out, right? So we sitting there and we learn all of these things that we could have learned on the street. That's why I tell you, don't go to prison, don't come off the porch, don't go on the street, don't join a gang, don't break the law because it's not worth it. Did you hear this horrific story I just had to tell you right now? This is what happened day to day in there. That little Bonaparte behind me. Look at him with the baby face. And this old big gorilla-looking dude's all running around him. But, you know, he kept his Bethlehem on him, and he'll use it. Everybody know who he is from D.C. So, you know, we know what it is. You know, I'm going to highlight certain dudes and start back. Man, y'all want the prison stories again? Because I ain't going to front. I'm tired of the celebrity stories. I'm tired of the celebrity stories. You know what I mean? Because everybody telling each other there's no substance. It's just a bunch of bull crap. You know what I mean? And then you got people talking about it that never been there. That's like somebody talking about a prison store, never been there. That's like me talking about working on Wall Street, never been there. You know what I mean? Now you talking about a dope alley. I can tell you about dope alley, but I can't tell you about Wall Street. You know, put it in the comments. What do you think is better, going to school or working on dope alley? And if you want to know what working on dope alley turn out to, just look at me. You know, I screwed my life up, don't want you to screw yours up. But that's the story of Bonaparte. You know what I mean? Put in the comments if you want some more. If you see any links for any celebrity stories you want to hear, you send them to me at my phone number. What is the phone number? You send it right here to this number, you know, because, you know, a lot of that stuff is so sick that I don't even look at it. So I'd rather you send it to me so that I could look at what you send me instead of have to go through some of the crazy titles that I've seen. And, you know, so much stuff that you just know is lies, but it's up there. But that's my phone number. You can even call and talk to me on that number. And I want to give a big thank you, you know, to Bonaparte for allowing me to tell this story, because I check with the men before I do this. You know what I mean? But anyway, make sure you subscribe to my daughter's YouTube channel, Juanita Mecca Audio. All right? And Real Boss TTTV. Please go to Real Boss TTTV. Show him some love. That's one of my Harlem natives that I'm trying to help get his monetization up. He shows videos of music. It's music videos. So when you chilling out in the house, you can put it on a big screen, watch the music or whatever, listen to the joint. When you ride down the street, I was riding down the joint the other day, right? I had to drive all the way down to South Jersey. And when I'm driving down to South Jersey, I play the Real Boss TTTV. And I said, oh, I got to promote my man. Let me get out of here. All right.
Cheers, cheers, toast the crime, toast the crime, the crime, the crime, the crime.
What?
Fresh out the can of 26,
yeah.
He back on the strip, getting back in the mix.
Yeah.
What he mentions a gift.
Bruh.
You stand up 10 toes down, and I suggest you pay attention to this.
Real.
Take a little gully posse and put it in Harlem. He cut from the bottom, came up from the bottom. Drop the book, you should go and get it. The Instagram page and the YouTube, you could go and visit.
Yeah.
Then you could consider yourself LinkedIn.
Real.
Sit front row and get Jews from a kingpin. How he went through it, so you ain't gotta go do it. To not pay attention would be stupid. Talking about a man that probably put your grandfather on. Probably the reason that him and your grams got along. A man that generated millions on the block, did his time, never squilling to the cops, Mecca Audio. Get it live like 2 G's in the 90s. Yeah. Drop top beamer so shiny. Yeah. I let shorty go, she was whining. Treat her like my past, she behind me. Spin a couple bands on the Dapper Dan. You be back again, getting green like a Packers fan. No cap, it's a raw in Uptown. They be horn Uptown, Dominican bust down. Now we on the positive, we got a lot to give. Now he trying to stop the kids from being inoperative. So take heed, homie, lend a ear. He started in Uptown, he gon' finish dead. But now it ain't about selling drugs, buying cars. It's about buying property to make the community ours, so we can give back to the